Thanks so much for talking to us. So
Yeah.
tell us, it means so much, and I've heard you constantly talk about diversity. What does it mean to be a woman of color really leading in terms of your character?
Yeah, I love that this character is one of those sort of reluctant heroines. You know, she's so leading with just mama bear energy, as Roberto puts it. You know, there is someone who put out a tagline and who put out like an image of the poster and wrote like, survival is one tough mother, you know? And I grew up with that. I grew up with a matriarchal family, but I also, in that matriarchal family, was gotten really mixed signals, you know, like we were taught patriarchal standards and toxic masculinity and trauma was passed on just as fervently as if it was passed on by the men themselves. And you know, you can say it was tough love, you can say it was to prepare us for the greater world around us, but I think we're in a place right now where we're starting to recognize that that is just not the way forward. It's not just about surviving, it's about thriving, and that, you know, that we can start recognizing that leading with heart and leading with love is actually that much more powerful, and that is represented very powerfully in this story, and I think it's a message and a lesson that we all really need more than ever.
Yeah, absolutely. I was at the party last night and it was such a vibe, and really Ben said it just felt like a big familia, just partying. What are you hoping that people take away from the show?
Well, I'm actually kind of going back a little bit to what you said with diversity earlier. It's like, that is our world. Like the majority of the planet is very colorful. The kaleidoscope of humanity and our abilities and our capabilities is on constant display if you actually travel around. It's just not very well represented in our media. And it's really wonderful to see someone like Roberto and to have someone like Ava who's making it their life's work to really better represent us on screen so that we can just open ourselves up that much more to our possibilities as a human race. And you know, growing up in the Lower East Side in an abandoned building, I can tell you, like the people on this screen, like that was my community. And those would be the people left behind in the middle of a civil war if Manhattan were left to its own devices. And it's really wonderful to see that properly displayed, which is a real takeaway that's different from the comic. And the comic focuses more on that dystopian, cynical, like war kind of perspective. And he said, no, I want to focus on the heart of these people and like what it really means to make a change and make a difference, and who would really be leading that. I think that we tried our best in this show to do that vision justice, and I'm really, really excited for people to see it and to have that takeaway that like everything from migration to, you know, the horrors and tragedies of war are things that we can all relate to, no matter what our gender, our race, our color, you know, our religion, and that, you know, those should be the things that bring us together, not divide us.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you want to ask a question?
I didn't know if we were wrapping up or not.
I'll give you one.
One very quick question. Again, we are a student outlet. Do you have any advice to aspiring students that want to be in the industry, whether it be producing, acting, creating, anything that you could give us?
I just want to say, you know, I feel like the two generations that have been most impacted by this pandemic have been the youth and have been our elderly. Someone like me who's been a workaholic for a really long time, it was nice a little bit to slow down a little bit. But the mental health and the emotional health and the fear and anxiety has been through the roof. People who I know who are teachers, the suicidal ideation, all the different things, like this is PTS, and I wouldn't call it a disorder because it is absolutely normal to be reacting with anxiety and fear and trauma to what is happening around us. And so I would say not to try to normalize it and make it kind of go away. You know, to really, this is who you are, this is your experience. Let that really guide you forward. You actually know, which I think is really important, that things can get worse. That's a really important lesson in life, that it doesn't, like, as hard as you work, it doesn't mean that you get to have everything that you're fighting for, but you still need to fight anyway. You still need to create anyway. You still need to share your stories. You're valid. It's so important. Your creativity is what is going to be the guiding light that takes us forward. You give me hope. You inspire me. And that doesn't mean that the onus isn't on me to continue pursuing and doing my best. But I just want you to know that your best is needed. And so do whatever it is that you need to do your self-care. I think you have that, and that the lessons of that every single day on social media in a way I didn't have growing up, my mother didn't have growing up. Like, you're constantly reminded to take yourself seriously and to take care of yourself. But just remember that that self-care is not about isolating and being solely about yourself. It's so that you can better show up for your community and show up for the world at large that much better. So take care of yourself, but also we are intersectional, we are intergenerational, we are interdependent, and know that we need you.
Well, thank you so much.
Anything more on Mandalorian?
Oh, no,
Ah!